friends, I'm Lisa. In the future, I will sometimes talk to you about some of the marriage stories of Chinese girls that I know about. And then you can learn about the Chinese culture behind those stories. I heard a story about a Chinese girl marrying an Indian man a few days ago. I cried when I heard it and wanted to give her a hug. The girl is younger than me and is a yoga instructor. I was also a yoga instructor when I was in my 20s. Her husband is Indian and also works as a yoga instructor in China. They met and fell in love. But when the girl told her parents that she had an Indian boyfriend, her family was worried about her. Her family believed that India is poor, and that women in India are not respected and are unsafe. In fact, I understand her family's concerns. As parents, they definitely want their daughter to live a good life. They don't want their daughter to live a family that is poorer than China. I think this is a normal way of thinking of parents. They worry because they love their daughter. Although they were worried, they did not ask them to break up. Later, they planned to get married. But India is different from China. In India, women need to pay men a dowry, while in China, it is the opposite. In China, some places men should give dowry to women, but after women's family must buy more expensive stuff or give double money, give back to that woman, take it to men's house. Some women's family will buy a car to give to them. So different place, different requirements. So Chinese is so big, so the culture or requirement of marriage is so different. They simply get married and went to India for a few days. Her husband's family was indeed very poor. The Chinese girl's family live into countryside. And in China, rural areas are the poorest. Even so, it is still much better than her husband's home. I think it's a good thing she didn't let her parents go to India. If they saw how poor their son-in-law's family was, they would be worried sick about their daughter. After all, no parent wants their child to suffer. Her Indian husband's salary in China is not very high, so I think the man did not give enough to the woman's family when they got married. I don't mean to give money, but according to Chinese customers, the man should bring some gifts to the girl's parents' house, which is a sign of respect. She and her husband rented a house in other city, and the girl later became pregnant. Although her husband could speak some Chinese, he did not know Chinese characters, and they were worried that her husband couldn't be able to communicate well enough with hospital staff. When she went into labor, the girl wanted mother to come and help her, but her mother said she was too busy to go. So the girl asked her if she could go back to live with her parents for a while, and her parents agreed. The girl returned to her hometown by herself. Soon after, she gave birth to a child. After staying in the hospital for 3 days, she returned to her parents' house. Her Indian husband also went to her parents' home. In the morning, the girl's brother and her grandfather went to her parents' house. But the girl's Indian husband went to the bathroom to wash up because he wanted to look presentable when he met the family. He may have taken some time in the bathroom, and because of this, the girl's brother said that her husband did not respect them and got angry. Then he quarreled with the girl, and in anger, the brother told the girl, her husband and the child to leave his house, which actually belonged to their parents. The girl also paid 50,000 yuan for the house before. But in rural China, parents would leave the house to their sons. At that time, the baby was only 13 days old. They left their parents' house and went to a hotel. So sad. The girl's grandfather also escorted the girl because she gave birth at her parents' home, and the house was left to her brother. The grandfather believed that give birth to a child at her parents' home, especially in the house left to her brother to get married, was unlucky and would bring bad luck to her brother. When the girl was crying, when she was telling this story, I cried too. I understood her pain, especially the way her family hurts her. In many places in China, there is still a preference for boys over girls, especially among the elderly, because the girls will marry and become part of other family, while sons will carry on the family name. I'm also in interracial marriage, although sympathize with this Chinese girl. I think her Indian husband really didn't do a good job, because I found her husband and her family weren't familiar with each other. And because of culture difference, misunderstanding would also occur. For example, when my husband was still my boyfriend, I took him to my house several times. He would chat and play park with my family. And whatever I found my family, he would also say a few words to them. After marriage, he would also attend my brother and sister weddings and birthdays. And he could call my parents mom and dad. According to Chinese tradition, I really think this matter, because the girl went back to her parents' home to wait for the birth of the child. Her brother did not object, but when he went to visit her after she gave birth, her found that her brother-in-law did not come out to see him and the grandfather, but went to the bathroom to wash up, which took a long time. He and his parents waited for a long time, so he got angry. My point is that the husband should have come out and said hello first, then say sorry, I will go to wash up first. If he had done that, there will be no problem, especially that he can speak Chinese. Think about it. If your own family come to visit you, would you hide in bathroom for a long time without saying anything? No matter who you are, you will feel disrespected and annoyed, especially if they live in your parents' home. Moreover, her grandfather, parents, and brother are all here. Doing this is the greatest disrespect to the elderly. Not being familiar with his wife's family is also the reason for this situation. For example, if my husband comes to my house, my family will just call him by his name. If he has something to say, He will tell my family and then leave. So there won't be any misunderstandings. As for her husband, I guess in Indian culture, men are annoying and don't care about some things. I think the biggest reason for this is that the woman's husband didn't pay enough attention to her family, nor didn't take care about things that are important in traditional Chinese culture. And the girl didn't help him in this regard. My husband once said, I found a Chinese woman, so I have to respect the Chinese traditional and respect your family according to traditional Chinese culture. For example, when my husband sees my parents at my house, he will stand up immediately and ask them how they are. This is a kind of respect. Sometimes respect is in the details. Of course, if the girl's family loves her, they won't care too much about those things, because as long as her husband treats her well, nothing else matters. But her brothers too much. He kicked them out just after his sister gave birth. It's really sad. In many rural areas, the son has the final say, which is why the girl's mother can't do anything even though she cried and feels sorry for her daughter. If I were that girl, I would love myself better, live a good life with my children and husband, and not keep those hurtful things in my heart. They will continue to live in China. I also think her husband should learn some traditional Chinese etiquette. You're marrying a Chinese woman and living in China. It is impossible for a girl to save tears with her family for life. I really feel sorry for this woman. Although love can overcome everything, to be honest, if they really to live in India, their marriage will not last long, because the reality is cruel, and she has never lived in such an environment, which is why they will continue to live in China. I have seen some people marrying Indians in China, but none of them have had this happen. This is the first time. In fact, this woman and her brother will reconcile in a few years. The blood relationship of family members is not so easy to break. The older you are, the more important your family is. I also advise people who are in an interracial marriage that you are not only married a woman, but also her family. And it is very important to respect their culture and traditions. It doesn't matter if you don't understand other things, but you must know the traditional etiquette between families, because this represents respect and attention to them, and it also represents your attention to your wife. Because in China, if you really love your wife, you will pay more attention to her family and make her family like you. Has this story touched you? And how much do you know about the Chinese culture behind this story? It's a very sad story, especially this girl just gave birth 13 days. Her family kicked them out the house. That's really hurts. So please write down your comments and see you next time. Bye.